What is up, guys? Welcome back to another show, BettorEdge, setting the edge. I don't know why I'm echoing, but hopefully that's not a problem with everybody else on the audio side. But
You sound good.
I want to let you guys know we're here with Setting the Edge, and it's brought to you by BettorEdge. We are here to talk about this weekend's college football and NFL games, as we do each week. Thursday, 7 o'clock is typically when we do this. And basically what we're going to do tonight, we're going to go through the NFL lines. We're going to go through the college lines. We're going to give our picks for the competition and break it down, talk about what's going on for each game and why we picked that way. I want to give a shout out real quick from last week's competition. We did a Pacer challenge, Jab 31 Jab, and Jeff Hughes took it down. I think they won like $30 off of a $5 entry fee. Believe they went 8-2 and 7-3, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So a pretty good week for those guys. This week, our competition is a double up. The double up is basically just had to finish in the top 50%. Right now, it is a $10 entry, and we have almost 10 people in there right now. So before I get started with any of the picks, I want to introduce my panel, my co-host, my boys. Starting in the top left corner, we got Goated Marino. Andy, say what's up to everybody.
What's good, buddies? Let's make some bread.
And then let me throw it over in the top right-hand corner with the glasses this week, trying to look intelligent or something, man. Tony Schwartz. I don't know what's going on with the glasses, but hopefully he can see into the future with these picks.
Yeah. My future's crystal clear, just like these lenses. I had to return back to basics, so I took off all the fancy clothing. I'm on a T-shirt today, going back to basics, trying to get out of this 4 and 6 rut that I'm in right now. Sean is out of here.
Oh boy. Well, we're
so
good.
While he figures that out, we're just gonna kick it over to the Thursday night game, right? Start right at the top of the week. We all have plays on this game. Andy, what are you feeling? What's some of your picks? What are you expecting out of this Thursday night matchup?
This Thursday night matchup, brother, I really feel Vegas has it flipped. You're telling me Pittsburgh is not the favorites? Cleveland has the pass rushing duo hobbled right now. Clowney's not playing, and Garrett, he thinks it's a game-time decision. Now, I know Brissett, there's my boy. Where you going, man?
I don't know what happened, man. I had an echo, then all of a sudden everything froze, but I'm good now.
That's good to see, man. So I know Brissett has been playing decent, much better than I expected him to play. A defense like Pittsburgh is not the type of defense you want that type of quarterback, a backup quarterback, to play against. He's going to make his life hell. Amari Cooper is going to be targeted to be shut down. They're going to be looking at the run game. Hunt, Chubb. I like Pittsburgh in this one. My little wild card is Mitch Trubisky. How would he decide to play today? He opened week 1 pretty decently. Week 2, he did not look very good. He has plenty of weapons. Running back, tight ends, receivers galore. I'm going Pittsburgh. I just feel it. I feel the energy, but I'm going Pittsburgh +5.
I think the only wild card that Mitch Trubisky is the fantasy owners. He's a fucking wild card to them. The Steelers, he's pretty consistent. The thing about Pittsburgh is over their last 2 games, they're a team that's only given up 37 points, right? But on the opposite side of the ball, they're facing a team that is 4th in DVOA and I think 7th in offensive rating right now. So they're either 7th or 6th. I can't remember off the top of my head. So you have a good defense going up against a good offense. But the Browns are a team that I think is kind of vastly overachieved on offense against subpar talent, right? They gave up 55 points to Joe Flacco and Baker Mayfield. That should tell you a pretty good chunk of what the story is. And both of those games were kind of decided in the last minute. The Steelers are fighting, at least in both of their matchups. They gave up games close to the end. I'm with you. I think that this game is flipped. The Browns are 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 matchups with AFC teams. So if you wanted to bet that way, you could bet that way. I just think the Steelers are a better team. Plus, you're getting them with plus points. Mitch Trubisky is going to be dead even, and I think that the defense for Pittsburgh is still good enough without TJ Watt to cover that.
For sure.
See, I think it's interesting because let's take last week. Crazy endings all across the league. We should probably talk about that as we go through this card. The Browns were at a 99.9% chance of winning, and they should have won had they felt, Nick Chubb falls down. all these endless things, the onside kick, this deep pass. If they win that game and they come into tonight 2-0, I agree with what Tony's saying. They're statistically struggling against average, I would even say bad quarterbacks. Like their defense has not shown up, and they've had to fight tooth and nail for all these both games. But I think the Browns are the better team. Now, I didn't go against you guys, so we're not opposite on this. I don't like the line on our competition. It's 5. It's more like 3.5, 4 everywhere else, and that's not really that big of a difference. I went with the under. I went under 38.5. Is the line on BettorEdge. It's 38 about everywhere else. There is a lot of wind in Cleveland today. It has been cold and rainy. The wind is, I think, going to affect this game. You already have 2 mediocre quarterbacks. If you can't throw the ball, I think it favors the Browns if I were picking a side because of Chubb and Hunt. The Steelers really struggle to block in front of Najee Harris, and he's really not picking up a lot of yardage. But I'm going under. I do agree, though, if I'm looking at +5, -5, I would go with what you guys did because you're getting value on that number. I just think it's a low-scoring, ugly. If you got anything else to do tonight, probably should not watch this game. You should probably stay on 5 Reasons YouTube and jump on the stream at 8 o'clock. Brian Fonseca, lots of 5 Reasons guys. They're doing some stuff with the Dolphins, the Hurricanes, the Heat. All the funds, all the super chats are going to go to raise funds for Puerto Rico. That's obviously dealing with some aftermath of this hurricane. And so, make sure you check that out. That's coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll plug that again as we're going through this. But we're going to move into college football. Interestingly enough, this week, college football, we have no games where we're both on one of the games. It's all single, one of us is on each game. So we're going to move through this, I would say, fairly quickly, starting with the first game, Maryland at number 4, Michigan. Andy, what did you do on that one?
Brother, Michigan has absolutely decimated its first 3 games this year against low-level talent opponents like Hawaii, Colorado State. Maryland, although they're better than those teams, it won't be much different. Let's not forget what Michigan did last year against the same Maryland team led by Tua's brother, Tualia Tagovailoa. They beat them 59-18.
Talia Tagovailoa? Yeah.
Say again? I think Tualia, something like that. Okay? Tualia Tagovailoa. I'm rooting for them because, we roll with the Hawaiian boys, with these Polynesian boys, but it's going to be a rout. And plus 17.5 is a little low. It's a little low. So give me Michigan plus 17.5.
I like that. Yeah, I forgot to give the line 17.5. Michigan's favored. Over-under is 62. So Andy is on the Wolverines at home against Maryland. Next one is Central Michigan at Penn State. Penn State, number 14 team in the country. It is a 25.5 point line for the Nittany Lions. Over-under 60.5. Andy did not take the over on this. He's understood Manny Diaz. He's still terrible. But I'm not going over, but I am going with the Chippewas. I'm going Central Michigan plus 25.5 at Penn State. I went with Central Michigan in week 1. They went to Oklahoma State and only lost by 14. It was 58-44, I believe. So I'm sticking with Central Michigan. I think 25.5. It's actually a little bit more than that elsewhere, so the line has moved up. So I feel like I might be on the right side. I just think that's a lot of points for them to cover, and Sean Clifford's not very good. I still don't think so. That's why I'm going with the over in that one. Next up, we got Andy back-to-back here. What is MT? Middle Tennessee State. I was going to say Memphis for a second. I was like, who the hell is Miami playing? Middle Tennessee State at number 25, Miami. Andy, what do you have there? The line here real quick. Miami's favored by 26, over under 53.5.
All right, so I don't think Miami's going to win by 26. I don't think they're going to lose this game, though. But I would go with the under 52.5. Obviously, this offense is struggling. I don't know if sometimes it's Tyler Van Dyke. It looks like the receivers really need to start getting open. They need to start to not drop those balls so much. They had a really disappointing showing against A&M. I'm very sad. Very sad. However, it's a winnable game. I really do think that the Middle Tennessee Blue Rebels or Blue Devils, they're gonna try to score. They have an aggressive defense that's gonna give Miami some trouble. We're gonna win the game, but it's not gonna go over 53.5. especially with Miami's stout defense.
And then I have you up again, so we'll keep the mic with you. Number 22, Texas at Texas Tech.
So I've been fading Texas this year, and I'm going to have to drop the haterade for a while because they looked very, very decent against Alabama last week. I was very impressed. I really was. I did not expect them, especially after their QB Ewers went down, Quinn Ewers went down. They still managed to keep it competitive, losing by 1 point only. Texas Tech is not going to run with these boys. Texas plus 4.5 is the line, Sean. Can you confirm that for me? I have it on my notes as Texas plus 4.5.
Opposite. Texas is 4.5 point favorites at Texas Tech.
Makes sense. I probably typoed there. Texas minus 4.5. I'm usually a Texas fader, but they should easily win this game. Texas Tech squeaked by Houston, and they lost by double digits to NC State, the only top 25 team they faced so far. Texas showed to me that they can play with the – so give me Texas minus 4.5.
Appreciate that. Let's get Tony involved finally here. We talked about that NFL game, and Tony's been just hanging out. So we got number 15, Oregon, at Washington State. Oregon is favored by 6, over under 53.5.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity by College Game Day to get out there to Washington State. I know that those fans, I know, like, you might think I'm being sarcastic, but those fans really love some football out there. They have a good environment. They do that thing with the Washington State flag that I think is kind of unique. I really would have loved to see them go out there, but this is the biggest game they've had since Gardner Minshew was in town. Oregon's been a team that's been playing above expectations. I think they kind of returned down to earth this week, but not enough for me to take anybody on the spread. I don't feel comfortable with that, but I am going to take the over in this game at 53.5. I think Oregon is the team that loves to score in bunches. Bo Nix is an incredible athlete. And Washington State's a little bit better than, the point spread is probably giving them credit for, especially playing at home with all of the intensity around this matchup right now. This is a very big game for them. So I'm going to take the over and ride that line. I think it's the safest one in the game.
I like it. And shout out to Bimmy Badabayo in the comments section. We appreciate you coming in. Member of the pool party. So shout out to that. Number 10, Arkansas at number 23, Texas A&M. One of the few two teams in the top 25 playing this week. Andy's on this one. What you got?
Give me Arkansas plus 2.5. Look, what we said last week about A&M is still true today. I know they beat the Canes. That's not very impressive, unfortunately, to say. Their offense is still non-existent. Look how many drives. They went 3 and out. They couldn't push the ball down the field with the lead the whole game. Even with the QB change to Mac Johnson, which is much better than their old QB King, Arkansas can score points in bunches with KJ Jefferson leading the way. Yeah. In my opinion, Arkansas is a better team. This team, the Aggies, they're not good. They should not be ranked. Miami's, they're going to give them another week or two in that top 25, but Aggies, they're going to lose Arkansas. But I'm going 2.5 plus Arkansas.
Yeah, that's an interesting line. Arkansas is the 10th ranked team in the country. And I know Texas A&M, it's a tough place to play at College Station, but to be almost a field goal dog, I mean, I guess that kind of tells you it's like a toss-up type of game. You're getting 3 points at home, but I like the value there that Andy's going with. Next one is Tony, Wisconsin at number 3, Ohio State. Ohio State is favored by 18. Over-under is 56. Tony, what do you got?
Yeah, look, Ohio State's going into this game. It's going to be a blackout for their fans. This is a huge recruiting day, too. They have, I think, over 7 scheduled recruits showing up to watch this matchup. So this is going to be really important. I bet on Wisconsin earlier in the season. They're just a team that loves to run the ball. I just think that they're running into a humongous Ohio State defensive line this year. The team that wants to get to something is going to be facing the best resistance from the other side. Usually in that kind of matchup, I don't think there's any reason to not bet the favorite. There's not much Wisconsin can do to Ohio State. We know that they're vulnerable passing, but Wisconsin's not going to be able to pass the ball. Quarterbacks is not really good. So I'm taking this Ohio State minus 18, and I'm going to lock that one in.
I know you didn't have anything on this game, but Andy, do you know anything that you want to add about Wisconsin before we move on?
I'm very disappointed that Tony is not believing in my big beefy white boys on that O-line. They're gonna run the ball against anybody. You can put them against an NFL team. Those big boys, they're gonna run and they're gonna help their running backs run. So very disappointed, Tony. But I like your analysis.
I knew that was coming. I knew I could count on that. Tony is up again, actually 3 in a row here. So Tony's got Stanford at number 18, Washington. Washington is favored by 12. Over under is 60.5. Go ahead, Tony.
So some of these I can make pretty quick because I kind of believe in all of them. But this one specifically and the other 10:30 kickoffs, I'm pretty much taking the under in real life on all the 10:30 games. I won't do that in this competition. But in this particular game, I will. The Stanford team, I think, can hang with Washington on the road, and they could be on upset alert. So the plus money was good, but I think I'm going to take the over. I just like that bet more. I can secure it. I would have loved 61.5, which is pretty much what's out there in the ether. But in our competition, it's 60.5. That sounds great. Like I said, if you guys want to make bets outside of the show, all the 10:30 unders, 10:30 at night, I like all of them.
And the next one you have is also a 10:30 kick, Utah at Arizona State. Utah is number 13 in the country, favored by 15 points on the road, over under 52. What do you got?
Yeah, it's not enough. Utah is a team that I think has a lot to prove. Arizona State just really isn't good. And then they're coming off of a coaching change. So Utah has every available opportunity to make this game a runaway. I don't think 15 is enough points. They're going to cover that and more. So give me Utah minus 15.
I like it. That's our college slate. We're going to move into the NFL. Before we do that, we just want to talk about our competition this week on BettorEdge, official gambling partner of 5 Reasons Sports. Our competition this week, you can get to it by going to bettoredge.com/settingtheedge. It's on the bottom of our screen, scrolling along. Just put a dash in between each of those. This week's competition, we are doing a double up. What that means is for $10, you can enter. You pick 10 sides or totals in the NFL or top 25 college football. Basically, all you have to do is finish in the top 50%. So if we have 20 people join, you need to finish in the top 10. If we have 100 people join, you need to finish in the top 50. Whatever it is, you double up your money if you finish in the top 10. It doesn't matter if you finish first or 10th. As long as you're in the top 50%, you double up your money. It's a pretty easy way to do this. This competition is I think, pretty simple compared to like last week where it was a pacer challenge where people had to beat me. So now you're thinking, what am I going to do? What am I picking? All those different things. This one, it's just, do your best, get above. I think if you probably get around 6 is probably the line that you have to get to. 5 or 6, you're probably guaranteeing yourself some money, but 6, I think you're sitting pretty. I did see the 2 guys that won last week are in there, Jab 31 Jab and Jeff Hughes. I know that the 3 of us are in there. I know Greg Sylvander's in there. I know last week Ethan Skolnick joined in. I think he went 2-8. So that's always good because when you got 2-8, 20% of your picks. I don't know where he got his information. I don't know if he just threw darts at a board, but it's good to have dead money in a competition like this because now you at least know that you'll finish higher than Ethan. That's one less person, that you have to worry about.
We need him to play more often, man. We're going
to try to get him as a pacer. I think he would be the pacer would be like, it'd be like, just giving free money out. So appreciate that. That's BettorEdge. Yeah, man, for real. It's just him or Greg, one of the two. Greg's pretty good at this. So I think Ethan might be a better pacer to give people some money.
Greg cannot be a pacer. It's just going to be another week like you, bro, hogging up all the spaces, bro.
All right. Look, we got to check out, we got in the comments our guy, Major Passons, another guy that is in the pool party. So what's up to him? He said it's more impressive to go 2-8 than 8-2 because there are some obvious picks. Yeah, it does. I don't know if we're really trying to give Ethan credit here, but for him to go 2-8, yeah, that's interesting.
But thank you for showing up, Ethan. Thank you. Come back, please.
Yeah, we do appreciate the money always. And before we go into the NFL, I do want to plug one more time at 8:00. Brian Fonseca, lots of members of the Miami Heat crew, Dolphins crew, Hurricanes crew on 5 Reasons. Everybody's getting together doing this fundraising program for Puerto Rico for the hurricane relief. So check that out at 8:00. All the super chats are going to go towards that fundraiser. So we did a really cool thing a couple of weeks ago or months ago now, I guess, for Eric Spoelstra's son. And we're doing it again tonight at 8:00. It'll be going until about 9:30. So make sure you check that out on 5 Reasons YouTube. But let's jump into the NFL this week. You got 2 weeks of data now. It's still kind of overreaction season, but we're starting to learn a little bit more about these teams. And so we are going to start with two teams that are actually the two opponents the Dolphins have played. So it should be familiar opponents to our crowd. The Ravens at the Patriots. Myself and Tony are on this game. I'm going to let Tony go first. What do you got?
Yeah, I still am not a huge fan of the Pats. I do think that I underestimated their defense immensely, and that's probably on me for not trusting Bill Belichick to come out and be schematically efficient. The Pats probably should have really lost that Steelers game. If Mitch was a better quarterback, they might have. He had a game-driving touchdown that he could have sealed that game away and gave them a victory, and maybe because I had money on it, I'm being a touch emotional. But the opportunity was there for the Steelers to put that one away. I think this game isn't much of a breakaway from how I view the Pats. They're mostly a fade team for me, especially against stronger conference opponents. I do believe that I underestimated their defense there, but I do believe I underestimated their defense. I'm frustrated, but the coverage disguises that they're going to show Lamar Jackson will be difficult for him to adjust to throughout the matchup, but it's nothing that Mac Jones is going to be able to counter on the other side of the ball. Eventually, Lamar Jackson is going to get his. He's an athlete of the highest caliber. That offense really can click sometimes, and the defense is really good too. So I'm going to go ahead and take ball -3. I like them to score about 2 or 3 more times than the Pats in this game. I think the -3 line is a little crazy to me, but maybe I'm really underestimating the Patriots defense. Sean, what do you have?
So I actually misspoke. I had this originally, and I removed my pick earlier this afternoon when I kind of finalized my 10. I was leaning towards Baltimore. What scares me is, we're going to talk later about a couple games that none of us picked. To me, Baltimore seems like clearly the better team. They have the best. I mean, Lamar Jackson could be potentially the MVP right now. He's one of the top 5 for sure, right? Why is this line only at 3, and why is it not moving? It just does not make sense to me. I know it's in New England. I know Belichick's a hell of a coach, but their team is not good. Baltimore's got a lot of injuries. There's some things going on there. They're a little banged up, but I just don't. It scared me away. So I agree with everything Tony said. I just did not put it on my card for that reason. Next game up is the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills, they come in potentially the best team in the league. I think everybody probably agrees with that from what we've seen so far. They've played pretty damn good. The Dolphins come in off, an amazing win.
Off a historic, say the words, comeback. Never before seen.
Something like 711 or something, teams that were down 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I mean, yes. The fan base on Twitter, unfortunately, had already traded, to the G League. They were comparing him to Justice Winslow, all those different things.
Lord.
You know how it goes. Unfortunately, we have those people. But somehow, some way, the Dolphins never gave up. Their coaching staff, their players, they rallied. They made it happen. And, of course, I got to turn it over to Andy. We know where he's going with this. But
it's like you're struggling to give us credit, brother. What's up?
No. They deserve it. I mean, it was a miracle. No.
The first touchdown is a miracle. The second touchdown is a coincidence. The third, what do you call a third, man? That's play calling. That's coaching. That's preparation. That's what elite quarterback play looks like, sir. Okay? What I got Dolphins versus Bills. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I don't have the spread. I don't want to touch this game too much. Okay, it's gonna be a very, very difficult game to predict. Bills, like you said, they're probably the best team in the league. I have to give them credit. I cannot be a hater. I will say though, 50.5 is going over 50.5. Either Dolphins are getting blown out and these boys are scoring 40 and we're scoring like 14, or it's gonna be a battle just like it was in Baltimore, 30 plus on both sides. Bills secondary banged up with Micah Hyde and Tre'Davious White still out. It will be very, very pass heavy because both D lines are going to shut down the run game. It's just going to come down to who has more firepower. Bills, Dolphins, Tua, Allen, Diggs. I'm really excited for this game because as long as we keep it competitive, then you kind of show, hey, you're here. And if you win, well, you don't want to tune in for the next show if we win, boy. Tua showed you guys last week, bro. This is what he has. This is what he always has been since Alabama. He's always had the deep ball. You just need to give him a couple seconds to throw it. He's always had that anticipation, the accuracy. Just because he's not 6'5", 240, doesn't mean he can't sling that thing, boy. Give me the over, 50.5.
I'm on the same exact thing. Same reasoning. Everything you said, you took it right off my notes, man. You're spot on. The injuries to the Bills, that's what I think is going to be important, is that I think Miami can score anyways. Their offense is very good, top 5 right now in a lot of the key categories. The Bills obviously have a great offense. I don't know if it's going to be a shootout somewhere in like the 30s and they're going to get like 65, 70 points, but I think 50.5, that's too low. I mean, you get two teams in the high 20s, you're already over that. So I also went with the over. I just hope it's a very competitive game. Like you said, if they stick with them, it proves something. But if the Dolphins win, like you said, right now is the time to bet the Dolphins to win the AFC East. Because if you think they have a chance, if you wait until after this game, if they win, you're not going to get the value anymore. So I think this is time to go after it.
What you doing? I love my Dolphins. What you talking about? Hey, Major Parsons, Bills by 15 plus, but you're also saying Tua's MVP. Pick a side, man. Get off the bandwagon and stay off. Go with Bills plus 15. I'm gonna get a better edge, and I'm gonna take that against you, and I'm gonna win.
We need as many fans as we can get. Come on, Major.
And you can do that on BettorEdge. You can say, "Hey, I got this."
Money where your mouth is, Major.
I like it. That's the advantage of BettorEdge. You can set your own lines. You go into the marketplace, see if anybody will take the other side of it. You got crazy ideas, go for it. And you can set up the line however you want it. Andy, you're still back on the clock. You got another one. Raiders at Titans. The Raiders are favored by 1 on the road. Over-under is 45.5. What you got?
Hey, we got Josh McDaniels in the hot seat. Raiders have a great squad. They made all these moves in the offseason. Got a great pass rusher in Chandler Jones. And they just have faced some really bad luck in these first 2 games recently. You know, bad luck, bad play calling, bad game management, whatever you want to call it. They can easily be 2-0. I expect Derek Carr to have a big game to his big targets, Adam Waller. I want to say, though, if Malik Willis gets to start or if he comes in the game, this becomes really interesting. Tennessee may have a shot. For me, Raiders -1 is too low. It's going to be tough to contain Willis if he comes in. Because if they aren't careful, you think too much of his running game, he's going to sling it 70 yards down the field. So Raiders D-line needs to contain Henry, but I really expect Raiders, if they don't win this game, it's going to be a really ugly season. Give me Raiders -1.
Yeah, consensus -2 everywhere else, so you're getting some value there. And I think the Titans have not shown much at all. And we're going to talk about this as we go through this card. Teams that are 0-2, that had high expectations. This is kind of, in a weird way, in week 3, almost like a must-win situation for these teams. And, both these teams really are encountering that. Our next one, Tony and I are both on it. It is kind of the opposite side of that. The Texans at the Bears. Hopefully nobody has to watch this one, even though we're picking
banger.
The Bears are favored at home by 3 points. Over-under is 38. Tony, I'll let you go first.
I think this is one of those lines that they're setting because both teams are so poor that they can't really dictate who's worse. The Texans are worse. Justin Fields showed me in week 1 that he's least competent enough to get the ball down the field. They're 7th, the Bears, in pass protection defense, which is not like the Texans are going to pass the ball a lot on you anyway, but they're really not going to do it against at least a large Bears front 4. I think Chicago takes this pretty handedly, dude. This isn't easy. For 3 points, Chicago's going to take this by at least 2 scores, whether it's a touchdown, a field goal, or 2 touchdowns at home. I don't know what the weather's looking like, but if it's bad, that even puts it more in Chicago's favor. So Bears -3.
I always love being opposite of my guy, Tony. I got the Texans +3. I haven't given up a lot of data, but you guys know I did my homework at some point today when I was supposed to be working. Since 2010, the winless teams are 45, 29-1 against the spread. So the Texans, 61% win rate, 18% return on investment, 31-44 straight up. So competitive when they're facing non-winless teams in week 3. So, or actually when they I don't know how I messed that up. When not facing another winless team. So you know what? I agree with what Tony said. 2 bad teams. That's why I took the points. But who knows? This is kind of a slot bowl for sure. Next one, I am on this one, is Eagles at Commanders. Tony's Eagles looked great last Monday night. They kicked the crap out of the Vikings. I was way off on that one. Jalen Hurts looks great. The Eagles' offense looks great. Their defense was flying around, made Kirk Cousins look like, peak Ja'Cory Harris, basically. But Eagles are -4, over under 50. And I have the Eagles. I went with the Eagles -4. They've won 8 out of 10 against Washington. I know they're going down to Washington, division opponent on the road. A lot of stuff this week because it's a reunion with Carson Wentz, their old friend at quarterback. I have Carson Wentz on my fantasy team, unfortunately, because I lost Trey Lance. So I'm hoping that Carson can throw up some stats. He's up there in the top part of passing yardage leaders right now.
Bro, you trusted Trey Lance with your fantasy squad, bro?
Yeah,
on,
it's the rest of my team's solid, but now I have Carson. But I'm going to go Eagles -4. I think it's – I don't – you know what, man. I'd never said I was a good fantasy football player, but this is another one that I almost got scared off of, like the Ravens, because the line just, to me, doesn't make sense. I think the Eagles are a much better team, and only being -4.
The connection's kind of weird. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me?
All right, so I don't know if I'm alone on this spot right now, but
Tony, can you hear me?
On that. I got you. He's alone on that part for sure.
Okay. We'll have Andy jump on and jump off. He's got that. He connects his Wi-Fi. It's run by a hamster outside of his house. It runs on a wheel, so we'll get him connected here in a second. It's okay though, because this pick's not up right now. We have Lions at Vikings. Vikings are favored by 6. Over under is 51. Tony, me and you are both on this, so I'll let you go. I have 2 picks on this one actually, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I can actually see your 2 picks because I consider 2 on this. Hopefully we're in line on one of them, but the Lions have been a team that have kind of shocked me a bit, especially coming out strong against Philadelphia and seeing them firsthand. They showed a lot of resistance in that game. And I do consider Philly to be a good team. I even thought about taking that -4 line too, but, it's just a weird line. It kind of pushed me off. But right now the Lions are 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 games, and they're 5-2 on the road as underdogs. And I think that this is a game that's, well within play for them to grab. The Vikings look out of sync. Mike Zimmer's defense isn't holding up as well as I thought it would. And they're coming off a really underwhelming performance. And that's the only thing that kind of gets me off the spread here, Sean, or else I really would take it. Especially if it was 7.5, I would smash it. But I do think the Vikings have a lot to prove coming off of that loss. So I'm taking the over 51 points here. It's just, to me, the better bet. You have some of the best receivers in the game in this matchup. So I think it can get to a shootout place, and I just like the over.
So if I had to categorize, prioritize, I would do the over first. Over 51 is our bet. I'm on line with that with Tony. The Lions are the 15th team in the last 20 years to average 30 points a game while also allowing 30 points a game. So they can score, but they can't stop anybody. So if you're looking for overs, Lions games, especially if you're a fantasy player, taking Lions players, but also teams playing against the Lions, because they're going to get some stats up there. I also went with the Vikings -6. And I am scared because the Vikings are also 30th in defensive DVOA. So this should be a shootout. It should be a high-scoring game. 50.5 or 51, that's some value there. That's too low for two teams that don't play defense.
Great.
But I think, like Tony said, the Vikings, they have to win this game. They can't drop this one after the way they looked on Monday night. I know it's a short week. I just don't know. I mean, the Lions, they get a little bit of a boost because everybody watches Hard Knocks. I just don't know how good they are. And so I'm going to trust the Vikings in this one.
Can we say that Jared Goff is kind of like arriving again, re-arriving?
I'll tell you what, I don't know who I was listening to today talking about their offensive coordinator, and I don't know the guy's name for the Lions, but he is a bright mind, kind of like a Mike McDaniels type guy that's rising up the ladder very quickly. And their stats and the way that they're playing is definitely proving to be that he's a guy that's going to be a head coach pretty soon. And yeah, I think you're right. Goff is playing great. And so I don't I don't trust the Vikings hugely. They were one of my last picks, but I definitely love the over. Me and Tony are both on that one. Andy and I are both on this game, the Bengals and the Jets. So, Andy, what do you got on that one?
Brother, I'm double dipping on this one. I got Bengals minus 4.5, and I got over 43 points.
Okay.
The Bengals much better than what they have shown on the field these last 2 weeks. Like, it's really confusing for me because they were Super Bowl level players last year. They improved their offensive line. They improved the team overall, and now they look very lackadaisical. I don't know what's going on. The defense is performing good enough, but I don't know if they figured out Burrow or what's going on there. They're not scoring enough points. Burrow is long due for a bounce-back game, and the miracle that we saw in the last 2 minutes of that Jets and Browns game that really hurt me in the competition because I would have been tied with you, Sean. That miracle is not gonna happen twice. Okay, Joe Flacco thought it was 2012 and he thought it was January. He thought he was making a Super Bowl run. I think he's gonna come back down to earth, and the Bengals should handily win by a touchdown. So I love this minus 4.5 line for the Bengals.
And I'm on that side also. Did you say you have 2 on this one? You have the over?
Yeah, and I have the over 43 points because the Jets, they look like they can score a little bit, and I expect the Bengals going to score 30 plus in this game. The Jets have a decent defense, but I'm feeling an explosion coming from these guys. They've been too quiet.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I said this when I talked about the Browns. Had that 99.9% weird ending not happened, there is no way the Jets are – it was 4.5 in our competition. Right now the line is 6 consensus everywhere else. So we're getting value right now, me and Andy, with that line, Bengals minus 4.5. But if the Jets lost that game to the Browns by 2 touchdowns like it should have been, the Jets are probably, I don't know, 7.5 point dogs.
Easily.
So I just don't – I'm not giving them credit for a fluke play. I agree with what you said about Joe Burrow. He's gotta show up. The Bengals have to win this game. They cannot – I mean, that division's still under – it's still able for them to get it because the Browns, I think, are 1-1. The Steelers are 1-1. Who am I forgetting?
Everybody 1-1.
Yeah, everybody. Well, besides the Bengals. So
the guys the guys who destroyed. Yeah, those people.
They've had a tough start, 0-2, but it's right there for them to get back in the division, back in the playoff race and stuff, and just take care of the ball, man. Joe Burrow is just turning it over so much that it just doesn't make sense. But I think, like Andy said, this is going to be a bounce back week. The Bengals. I like that over too. I didn't pick it, but I think that's a good pick by Andy. I do want to talk about one game that we're going to skip over here. None of us picked the Chiefs at the Colts. Now, I've gotten fat a little bit on picking against the Colts. Andy always makes a comment about it because I've been an anti-Colts the whole time. I had them lined up and I took it off mine. It was minus 6.5. The Chiefs, who are right around where the Bills are, people look at them like one of the best teams in the league. The Colts, who have looked just absolute trash, under a touchdown, and nobody sniffed it. Nobody went after it. Like, I thought for sure somebody would go after the Chiefs in this one.
I think for me,
I just can't trust.
Go ahead, man.
No, I couldn't hear you. Please, Tony.
No. You were literally talking first, Andy. I talked over you. Go.
I can't trust what's going on with the Colts, man. Like, they were a pretty good team last year with Carson Wentz. They have Matt Ryan now. It's not much of a downgrade. Some thought it was going to be an upgrade because of protecting the ball. So I'm expecting, just like with the Bengals, a bounce back from them. But at the same time, man, these Chiefs look really good. I just don't know if I can trust them to win by a touchdown. Like, I don't want to touch it. I really don't want to touch this game.
I think for me, it was only the line. It was only the line. I just don't like the fact that it's getting set at 6.5. That seems too good. There were so many great bets this week. I think a lot of overs specifically. I really will probably play this in my personal, honestly. And that's another thing too about BettorEdge, guys. We're giving you 10 picks in these competitions. If you want to see all of our picks, every time you make a pick, you can see it using the social tab on BettorEdge. It's a great reason to get on there. For instance, I made 3 plays on Monday Night Football that I did not make on this show, and all 3 of them hit. So if you're following me there, you would have had all 3 of those plays. This is something I'll play personally, but it's not in this competition. There's other things I feel that are better.
Yeah, and in that social tab, you can click. There's a button that's either copy or fade. You can copy, if you think Tony's got a great line here, copy it, and you can go right there. Or if you think Tony has no idea what he's doing, click fade, and it will go the opposite side of that line. It's a pretty cool feature, and it's very easy to do. Our next game is...
Yeah, if you want to make a lot of money, just click on copy every time Sean makes a pick. Just keep clicking. You'll win more often. Okay.
I got my butt kicked last week, so definitely caution. I'll just say that. Falcons at Seahawks. In our competition, the line is Falcons +2, over under 42.5. Myself and Andy are both on this one again. Andy, I'll let you go first.
Brother, I'm definitely going Falcons +2. The Falcons offense has really impressed me this year because they haven't utilized their best weapon, and they're still scoring 24+ points every single week. I don't know what's wrong with Arthur Smith. I don't know what beef he has with Kyle Pitts. I don't know. I don't understand. But that offensive scoring, they're going to integrate him in the game eventually. I see that they're using Kyle Pitts more as a blocker. He can block, but he's your best weapon, but whatever. Geno Smith on the other side with the Seahawks, he's coming back down to earth. He had a great week 1. Everybody loved it, but he's just a backup cornerback in the NFL. I don't expect the Seahawks offense to look much better, even with Kenneth Walker back, because they're just going to stack the box against them. I truly believe this should be -2 Falcons, not +2. So +2, great value for me. That's where I'm going, +2 Falcons.
We're on the same side again. It is +2 in our competition. It is floated around -1 for the Falcons. Right now, I'm looking consensus is -0.5, same difference. But the Falcons are probably going to finish this game favored. I would almost guarantee that. The Seattle Seahawks at home, tough place to play. We get that, the 12th man. Why do people right now think the Seahawks are any good? Because they watched them on Monday Night Football in the first week, and they beat the Broncos. What have we learned about the Broncos? The Broncos suck.
They're on my no-bet list, I'll tell you that.
Their coach is an absolute idiot.
I don't think they suck, though. I think there's a brand new team, pretty much. New coaching staff, new QB. I think they got a gel. I don't think they suck just yet.
You've got 2 to 3 all-pro wide receivers there. You got to figure something out. And I know it's only 2 weeks in the season. We'll see how it plays out. But that offense needs to be better than that.
Really underperforming, though.
Yeah. I think Andy's right. I mean, if you think about, I know that Monday night game, they got down to the 1 or 2 yard line a bunch of times and didn't punch it in with they have 2 good running backs too. The offensive part doesn't make sense. They have injuries. They lost Tim Patrick. Jerry Jeudy's hurt. Patrick Surtain, right? That's his name, right? The good DB for them. He's banged up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just they have to figure it out. And I'm with Andy. The Falcons, this is my second favorite bet of the week. I think it's almost a stone cold lock. It's not a bet the house. My bet the house is coming up next, Andy. What?
I didn't tell y'all a bet the house special this week, man.
You forgot?
I didn't say it when it was on the board.
Yo, tell us. You're getting scary.
Because I was just wow, I'm so dumb. Bet the house! Arkansas plus 2.5. Just a reminder. All right, guys, back to our regularly scheduled program.
All right, we're working out the kinks. Well, I got my bet the house coming up next. Me and Tony are on this game. It's 49ers at Broncos. I can almost assure you we're on the same side on this one. In our competition, the 49ers are 2.5-point dogs with an over-under of 43. I'm on the 49ers. Tony, are you on the 49ers?
Yeah, this line, even if I didn't like the 49ers, is just too good to pass up.
Yeah, you know what? They had an injury last week to Trey Lance. Jimmy G steps in. It might be an upgrade, to be honest with you. I don't know why the 49ers were 2.5-point dogs. I know that's where it opened. That was in all books. I'm looking at the lines. It opened at 2.5, but now it's -1.5. So you're looking at 4 points of line movement. So value there is huge. Nathaniel Hackett, I said it earlier, he is an absolute fool. He is terrible. I cannot bet on him. The fans are having to count out the play clock because he doesn't know what's going on. The 49ers 19-10 against the spread under Mike Shanahan. Jimmy G 17-8 against the spread on the road. I just think the 49ers, this is my bet the house. I would pound that line you got if you got +3, I would bet everything in the world on it. I think that's a lock.
Yeah.
Pound it like Ime, bro. Yo, but that man has a family, bro. Like, relax. Don't call him a fool live on stream, man.
Yo,
Come
he
on
might
now.
he needs to be unemployed. I don't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. Sorry. I usually defend coaches, but not that one. Last but not least, the Dallas Cowboys going to the New York Giants, the future NFC East champions. I am not on this game, but I'm just saying the Giants are still 2-0. And Tony is on this one. So, Tony, go ahead. Monday Night Football here.
You prep for this? I'm going to concede something to you. The Giants are the second best team in the NFC East. They really are. I think the Cowboys kind of are not good right now. You want to talk about a coach that should be fired? Let's talk about Mike. I think Mike is on the hot seat. It's burning up under his tail right now. This game is a kind of tough to judge because the line has moved since we opened the competition. But with the Monday night matchup, lights on, divisional rivals, I think the great equalizer here is a coaching battle. And Giants have a really good one over there. He's talented. He has that camp energized. Those guys are willing to play for him. And schematically, they do very interesting things over in New York. If you aren't watching Giants football, there's some fun stuff going on over there. This is a game that I think the Giants can cover. But I kind of just like the under more. It's a late night for both of these teams. Divisional matchup. NFC East games are really sloppy. I've been a fan for a long time. Those games kind of suck sometimes. So they get down in the mud. I don't think that's I don't think that this Cowboys team's talent is pushed any further by the lack of ingenuity and innovation that the offense and the defense are putting out on the field. The Giants find a way to win it, but I like the under as a better bet.
Yeah, so I forgot to say that the over-under 39.5. On our competition, the Cowboys, the Giants actually are 3-point favorites. The consensus line right now is Giants favored by 1. So the line is money's moving on the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a good game on Monday Night Football. And I will just add, if the Giants can get this one, move to 3-0, they play the Bears next week, 4-0. And I am living great with what my bet is. That Giants now, I mean, look, Philly looked very good. Don't get me wrong, but I'd be sitting pretty right there at 4-0.
We got to get Sean some a wheelbarrow to carry his cojones, man. I cannot believe he bet preseason, bro.
And you know what I bet on this week? Jaguars, AFC South. I should have done it earlier. I didn't do it. I think they might take it down. I like it.
I got it too. I locked that one in too. I'm surprised you didn't play. Did you play Jags this week?
No. You know what? If we could wait and get news on, I know Herbert practiced today. It seems like he's going to play because you could get Jags +7 in our competition. So if you see news this weekend that Herbert's not going to play, we don't change our picks. It's your advantage that you have against us. I would go and grab the Jags because that line's going to skyrocket. It'll be a lot of value for you. I think that's a huge value if we get there.
I think it's the
last
over
but
in
not
that
least.
game.
You think so? Yeah. Well, the Chargers are very good offense. Jaguars can score. Yeah.
Well,
you got Keenan Allen maybe coming back. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is if he comes back and Herbert's back, I think that's an over.
Yeah, but you guys talking about overreactions and whatnot, man. Come on. It's still the Jaguars and the Colts still got a great roster, man. Let's wait until week 4 or 5 before making these affirmations, man. Come on.
Speaking of affirmations, the last thing we always do is talk about our Super Bowl picks. I know that I'll start this week because I know we've been going in the opposite order. I had the Ravens and the Rams. I still feel okay with that. I'm not going to switch mine yet. It's too early to start switching stuff up, but I'm definitely if I'm going to switch one, it's going to be the Rams. That's what I've been looking at, especially after that week 1 loss. Tony, what do you think about your Super Bowl pick? Who was it? Just to remind people.
Yeah, I'm going to ride it until the wheels fall off, man. I'm going to stick with Eagles-Chargers. I still think the Chargers have one of the most talented teams in the league. I just need them to prove it to me. I need them to show me, and I need people to get healthy. It's the thing the Chargers do every year where I'm like, they have the best roster, and then they get hurt.
All right, Andy, what was your Super Bowl pick, and are you changing anything?
Bro, I have to change my AFC pick to the Bills. I'm going to keep them the Bills. What I'm struggling with every single week is what am I going to do with the NFC? And what am I going to do with the NFC? I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with the NFC. I am going to go with Still, the Packers. I really don't like picking them, but I just it's like a toss-up. Rams, Packers, Bucks, Niners. Everybody's like in the same little bubble, like good but not great. So I'll stick with the former MVP last year versus the Bills, and I think the Bills. This is when they're finally gonna win the Super Bowl this year. It really looks like, unless Tua had something to say about it, which he does.
Oh, here we go. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right, so before we get out of here, just as a reminder, make sure you go to bettoredge.com/settingtheedge. It's on the bottom of our screen. You can also do bettoredge.com/5 reasons. You get a $20 sign-on bonus from 5 Reasons Sports when you sign up. You can use that right away to join our competition. This week it's $10, double up. Pick 10 sides or totals in the NFL or college football top 25. We gave our picks. You can go back through this. We'll post them on Twitter also so you know those. And then all you have to do is put yours in. You can join anytime up until Sunday as long as there are still 10 possible picks left. So it's usually the 4 o'clock games on the East Coast on Sunday where you run out of enough picks. So make sure you join in. It's a lot of fun. We're doing it every week. And also before we close up in about 10 minutes on 5 Reasons YouTube, there will be the fundraiser for Puerto Rico that our staff from the Heat, Dolphins, and Hurricanes. I think it's starting with the Hurricanes. It's either starting Hurricanes or Dolphins. Hurricanes first?
Yeah, Hurricanes and football, and then Miami at 9, Heat at 9.
Got it. So, yeah, check it out. We're getting into training camp on Monday, so we'll talk some Heat, talk some Dolphins, talk some Hurricanes. We'll be back next week, Thursday at 7 o'clock. Good luck in the competition. Not too much luck, but remember, you just had to finish in the top 50%, so great opportunity to get some money. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.